Time to take a look at what's been grabbing headlines in the press around the world. And for that, I'm joined once again on set by Florence Villemino. Hello again. And you're starting out in Britain, where papers are focusing on the former spy whose name's been linked to an explosive dossier on Donald Trump and Russia.
That's right, that dossier that we've been talking about so much this week. Well, this is front page news in Britain. Let's start with the right-wing tabloid, the Daily Mail. They have a very classy title today. Kremlin blames Britain for the Trump sex storm. Of course, I won't go into what's in this dossier. You can search for it online. Essentially, the Daily Mail says that Russia's relations with Britain went into a deep freeze last night when Moscow blamed MI6 for the dossier about the sordid claims about Donald Trump.
And according to British media, the former spy is now in hiding.
That's right. It's kind of a crazy story. Let's take a look at the front page of iNews today. You can see they're talking about how he had to flee his home in Surrey in such a hurry that he left some of his lights on. All he did was leave a note for his neighbor saying, "Please take care of my cats." And then he vanished. And if you take a look at this front page of iNews, you'll see that security sources say that he actually fears for his life. He's afraid that Russian spies could perhaps be chasing after him.
And Florence, we know the ex-MI6 officer has been identified as being Christopher Steele. The Guardian has taken a closer look at his career that spanned more than 20 years. Is that right?
Absolutely. Very interesting profile if you're interested. You can see it here on the front page of The Guardian. So he served MI6 for nearly 2 decades, partially in Moscow, a little bit in Paris as well. Then he switched to the private sector in 2009. Now, security sources say he once worked with the murdered Russian spy Alexander Litvinenko. He also previously worked with the FBI to help uncover corruption at FIFA. So those are some of his career highlights. Now, what The Guardian points out, and this is interesting, is that Donald Trump, now he's lashed out against this, calling it fake news. He's even likened it to Nazi propaganda. But the reason why American intelligence officials thought it was important to share this information with him is because of the credibility of this former British spy. Since his name went public, many of his former colleagues have actually come out to defend him. They've described him as a sober, cautious, meticulous professional with a formidable record. This article actually quotes one of them saying, "This is not a cowboy operation. He's not the sort of person who would simply pass on gossip."
Some papers are now focusing on what the fallout might mean for Donald Trump.
That's right. Let's stay with The Guardian. There's an interesting analysis piece by Simon Tinzel. It says, look, whether or not Russia had anything to do with this dossier and whether or not the Kremlin interfered in the U.S. presidential election, it doesn't matter. The damage is done. Trump is seriously damaged, and he doesn't seem to realize it yet. This is a no-lose situation for the Kremlin because the U.S. looks weak. And you can see this headline here, with Washington chaos, that's what Cold War KGB agents dreamed of. And the article goes on to say that Vladimir Putin must be laughing fit to bust. And speaking about Putin, he is in a cartoon in the New York Times today. This is by Shapat. You can see he's wearing a shapka that said, not that he's going to make Russia great again, but he made Russia great again, sort of, in 2016. You can see the hacking scandal there on the left, and of course the situation in Syria on the right there.
Well, staying in the US, French papers are focusing on one politician in particular that was seen, or snapped rather, at Trump Towers having a coffee, and that's caused quite a stir.
That's right. This is Marine Le Pen, the leader of the far-right National Front Party. You can see a photo of her having a coffee in the cafeteria. Now, she didn't meet the owner of the building, says Le Monde, i.e. Donald Trump, but she certainly sparked a lot of confusion and speculation. Now, officially, she was there for a private visit, and she met with one of the party's main contacts in New York, a man named George Lombardi, apparently close to the Tea Party.
And Trump's transition team have said they have nothing to do with this visit by Le Pen to New York.
That's right, but this same Mr. Lombardi has told the Daily Beast that Stephen Bannon knew about the visit there and was actually speaking quite positively about Marine Le Pen. Now, Lombardi describes himself as the liaison between Trump and far-right parties in Europe. The Daily Beast goes so far as to describe him as an associate of Donald Trump. And this article says it's a matter of time before an official audience is organized between Trump and Marine Le Pen.
Okay, let's move on to something a little bit different now. That's Rwanda, which has a new king. And oddly, He lives in Manchester. That's Manchester in the UK, presumably.
That's right. Let's take a look at the Manchester Evening News. They have information about this. So you can see they're talking about how he's a dad living on a housing estate in Sales, that's in Greater Manchester, and he's been named the King of Rwanda. So his name is Emmanuel Bushayija, 56, father of two. He was appointed to the throne following the death of his uncle 3 months ago. His uncle, who was 80 years old, living in exile as well in the United States, apparently surviving on food stamps. Now, this man, Emmanuel Bushayija, he is now called Yuhi VI. That's his new royal title. He's a naturalized British citizen, been living there since 2000. He runs a security company, and so far he's remained silent about the announcement.
And Florence, very, very briefly, you have a quick word on robots and their legal rights.
That's right. The European Parliament wants to draft a set of regulations to govern the use and creation of robots and artificial intelligence. And among them, they're calling for a form of electronic personhood that would give rights and responsibilities to robots. And another thing they want to do is equip robots with a kill switch in order to manage the potential danger of robots, that are autonomous, essentially. I think that's a very good idea.
Florence Bimeno, thank you very much for that look at the international press this hour. There's more